Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Erin G. I am Erin. Welcome to your new moon energy forecast for March 2023. I hope you're excited about this one. This will be great. So, as always, grab a pen and paper if you haven't already. Maybe a cup of tea, nice hot beverage, maybe some water, something that feels like you can just kind of chill out and fully immerse yourself into the energy of the new moon. Okie dokie, so let's get started. If you haven't done a new moon energy or tuned into an energy reading before, basically the idea of it is to focus on new beginnings. New moon is all about starting fresh. The new moon is about processing what's already happened and just really looking forward to your future, but also remaining in the present moment. And we can be joined here today by our beautiful Frankie, who has this big fascination with candles. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on him for a while. Hey? Yeah, hello, come on. Okay, so let's have a look at where you are currently. You have been really working hard on, working on yourself, basically, doing a lot of shadow work. Maybe you tuned into the previous full moon energy because that was a lot of, work on yourself, a lot of transformation. And so that continues on. But as a result of that, you're currently in a really good situation as far as material things. It's feeling like things are kind of going in a really good direction for you. And as a result of that, you are starting to see the material shifts, the material benefits, the material changes. So this can be like, the financial sense, but it can also just be how you perceive the world as well. Sometimes when we're feeling in not a very good headspace, we look at the world from a place of more kind of doom and gloom. And so naturally we see things that will validate how we feel about life. When we start to feel really good about ourselves, then we naturally see things from a different perspective and we can appreciate that much, much more. So that's kind of where you're at the moment. This is a beautiful energy. So well done you for getting to that point and doing such the hard, that hard work on really, just all that hard work. I'm just thinking about it because I too feel the same. Obviously, I'm not separate from this reading either, so I'm sort of reflecting on it, going, yeah, no, we did well. Okay, so that's where you're at. Being that this is the new moon, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What are you wanting to accomplish? So let's have a look at that. Again, we're talking about transformation. This card just keeps coming up. It just keeps coming up. So this is a big, it's a major, major event. And I do remember whenever it wasn't that long ago, whether it was the full moon reading or even this month's energy reading, I remember saying to you that transformation doesn't happen overnight. Transformation is sort of like a long journey. It just keeps going and going. And yeah, so it's no wonder that that's come up. But that's your goal. Like you've identified that, where you have been, you just haven't really been happy. And so you want to be free of that. You want to break away from that. You want to build your self-esteem. That's your goal. You don't want to fall into the trap of missing out on the pleasures of life, missing out on the beauty of life. You don't want to be so stuck in that place where all you are focused on is how badly things are going. So yeah, that's kind of where you're at the moment. It could relate to material financial changes that are going on as well. So I was sort of saying that, you're starting to see some really like the benefits, like the material things are changing. But as a result of that, maybe some of that change mightn't be exactly how you wanted it to be. And unfortunately, when we are manifesting, we still often get what we want, what our energy is saying what we want, what our thoughts are saying what we want, right? But it might not look exactly like that. And so that's the danger. If it doesn't work out the way you want it to, try not to fall into the trap of thinking that it's not actually working. You know, try to see the good in that, the positive, and see how you can transform, see how you can grow from that. So I feel like this particular new moon is very much focused on you want to be a better person. Like, what a beautiful goal, and what a selfless goal as well, because by you choosing that, it means that you are essentially helping so many people at the same time. And not just people, you're helping the planet, you're helping consciousness at the same time. So that's freaking awesome. Okay, so how are you going to do that? How are you going to fulfill this goal? How are you going to continue to transform and raise that self-esteem and really start to kind of believe in yourself? Combination of a few things coming up here. Let me just sort of zone in a bit more. It's very, very important that you surround yourself around people who are actually going to lift you up. So that's one thing. It's also important to identify when people are being behaving a certain way around you because they're wanting a certain something from you. You know, what am I trying to say? When you form these connections with people, are they legitimate connections, or are they serving a purpose? Are they trying to get something from you that you may or may not be able to give, or you may or may not want to give? It's also, it's funny because the moon card from my tarot deck has actually come up, which is so funny because, you know, we're working with the new moon today. So the moon card is more of the darker side of things, and new moon is dark. You know, there isn't any light that's illuminated on it because it's a brand new time. It's the beginning of a new lunar cycle. And so things are a little unknown. It can be, yeah, you can fall into that, like that place of uncertainty as to how about you are going to fulfill your goal. It's ironic because this has fallen into how are you going to fulfill your goal? But what they're saying is the way in which that you can fulfill your goal is to remove the uncertainty. Okay, so try to not give in to the uncertainty. Try to understand that you're not always going to know. You're not always going to know. And it's okay if you don't know. It'd be kind of crap if you did know, really, if you think about it. If we knew how everything was going to pan out in life, then how bloody boring would it be? Excuse my language. So there's benefits to not knowing, and it gives you, you know, that free will as well, because you don't know and you react upon each circumstance as they happen. So I think, hey Dylan, I'm just going to try to kind of focus a little bit more on how to fulfill this goal of yours. Just not near the candle. Ultimately, I really think and feel that it comes down to just not giving in to the uncertainty. How you fulfill the goal is just to pave your way despite not knowing exactly the end result, not knowing too far ahead. It's not a bad thing at all. And I feel also too that to fulfill your goal also means to not get caught up in everybody else's idea of what your goal should be, or everybody's idea of who you should be, what you should do, how you should do it. that sort of thing. This is ultimately up to you. So, it does sound like, you're doing this all alone, and it might feel like it too, but just know that there are other resources available for you, and it's important to surround yourself. I keep saying this. It's like, I feel like I'm on repeat mode. It's important to surround yourself around a tribe, people who legitimately are there for you and you there for them. So the people who lift you up, that make you feel really good within yourself, and they feel good because they're around you as well. Okay, so that's what's going to be kind of really helping you along the way during this particular lunar cycle, is to identify who those people are. And it's also very important to not get too caught up in overcommitting yourself to too many projects, too many goals. I think the danger, or even say, for instance, if you had one goal, it might sound good just having this one goal, but then you think about all the steps, all of the multiple things that you have to do to fulfill the goal, and it can feel very, very overwhelming. So Spirit is basically sort of saying, hey, you don't have to know all of the steps, plus you don't have to do all of them either at the same time. Try to chunk it down. They're basically saying, can you please try to simplify the way in which you are going about reaching this goal? There's no time limit. You can take your time. Just because you are trying to rush doesn't mean that you'll necessarily reach the end quickly. In some cases, the more we rush, the more crappy things kind of get in our way because they're trying to slow us down. Okay, so combination again here for you to, as far as the resources go for this new moon, is that find your tribe, identify who they are, really have gratitude for them, which I'm sure you do, and also just don't take on too much. Don't take on too many aspects of that goal. It's okay to take it step by step, just chunk it down. Okay, alrighty, so this is interesting. You're still kind of continuing on along the spiritual path of, self-growth, self-actualization, self-realization. And as a result of that, the material things will shift along the way. So this new moon is going to sort of bring forth a lot more encouragement for you to continue on your path, but just not take on too much, not bite off too much more than what you can chew, and also just be a little careful around knowing who your tribe is and being able to kind of have that discernment, know who's there for the right reasons and who might be there because they are using you, perhaps. I mean, I don't like to say that. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? But, I know a couple of people, even in my own life, where they really only seem to appear when they need help, and that's okay. But if the tables were turned, they wouldn't be there. So that's kind of an example of what I'm trying to get at as far as that particular card. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this new moon reading. I hope you enjoy the new moon, March the 22nd. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down here, somewhere down here. And subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up if you really liked this video. You felt like it was had some really good content and you got a bit out of it, or a lot out of it, not just a bit. What am I saying? And enjoy. I will catch you sometime very, very soon. Bye.